February 12th, 2019. Dear Journal, today it became clear to me that Yonathan Ezra has devoted 87 journal entries to me. Should I call his parents? Ms. Cass? The police? No subject is left unturned. My career, my despairing sense of humor, my self-esteem, my relationship with my colleagues, my aspirations to be a Shakespearean actor, even my marriage. The thing is, it's all pretty funny, almost in good taste. And truth be told, I kind of like the attention. It's like someone is writing a book about me. March 3rd, 2019. Dear Journal, today is the day that I didn't go and see Yoni play basketball. I have not seen Yoni play basketball hundreds, possibly thousands of times, which is kind of a shame because I'm told he's really good. If Avi Willens is the Michael Jordan of Metropolitan Chicago Orthodox Jewish Day School middle school basketball, then Yoni Ezra is the Scottie Pippen of Metropolitan Chicago Orthodox Jewish Day School middle school basketball. Miss Cass told me that the great thing about Yoni as a player is that he is a leader who works well with all the other players on the team. He even passes the ball. I tend to believe this because in the classroom, Yoni always has lots of good ideas to share, but he always listens to everyone else in the room. He even listens to me, which is rare among Akiba Schechter students. June 28, 2019. Dear Journal, I have not seen Yoni Ezra in 20 days. I have received 17 emails from him. I'm quite flattered. The thing about Yoni is once he sets his mind to something, he can be awfully intense in his pursuit. He works hard on stuff. He cares. He did a history fair project on the Chicago heat wave of 1995, and even though I don't think the project interested him, he kept at it for the better part of 3 months and turned out a solid website by the time the whole thing was over. I remember when we started reading Macbeth that Yoni said he hated Shakespeare and thought it was boring. Once we got into reading it and seeing it, he became really enthusiastic. Maybe he was just being considerate, or was just excited to carry a sword in the classroom, but he really seemed to get it. His English is way better than my Hebrew, which is partly a separate self-deprecating joke, but really a compliment that Yoni is incredibly capable of reading, writing, and learning in a second language when he's barely a teenager. July 12, 2019. Dear Journal, Yoni sent me another email today. He heard of a loss in my family, and he took the time to write me a note. He had taken a break for the last couple of weeks. I admit that I don't recall ever doing things like that when I was in 7th grade. It was an awfully kind and mature thing to do. It reminds me that Yoni is really a mensch. I'll miss seeing him every day, but I don't worry about him. He has a fine mind, a feeling heart, and a world-class sense of humor. He laughs at my jokes. He will be great.
I started my time at Akiba when I was in 5th grade, coming from Israel. I didn't know anyone or how anything worked in American schools. Luckily, I had many people who supported me during my transition. I'll talk more about them later. When I arrived at school, my first thought was, oh my God, this is the biggest playground I've ever seen in my life. When I saw the playground, I could only imagine the fun things I would be doing in this school. I was surprised that I actually made friends on my first day at lunch when someone said, hey new kid, come sit with us. I had friends at school already, but what was even more exciting was that we shared the same hobbies and interests, especially sports. I remember that during my second recess, we were playing American football, not soccer, and it was the first time in my life I had ever played. This time was also the first time I had ever caught a football in a game. I remember how happy I was, and even before catching it, I remember someone saying, yes, he's gonna get it. That really was the beginning of a great time for the next 4 years of my life. In 6th grade, I decided to join the Akiba Schechter Wolves. I thought this would help me to get to know my classmates better and have fun. But what I didn't know is that after my first game, I found my true passion. Over the next 2 years, I improved at the game thanks to my coaches always pushing me to be the best player I can possibly be. After all the hard work that my teammates and I put in, we were in 8th grade. It was our turn to become the leaders and take this team as far as we could. My best memory was just a few months ago in the tournament, when our coach said we played our hearts out and gave it all we had on the court. We almost won, but the bigger reward was being able to enjoy the time I had with the team. Thank you very much, Coach Lee and Coach Moss. Throughout my time at Akiba, I've had the opportunity to be in so many interesting, fun, and especially challenging classes. These have taught me a lot academically, but taught me critical thinking and social skills that I can use outside of the classroom. Jewish values and the love of the state of Israel were also included. There are so many examples of this type of double education in my classes at Akiba. Going back to my time in 5th grade, it might have been the year with the most stress, being the new kid, and starting middle school were 2 obstacles I had to get through. But these were nothing compared to History Fair. If you ask anybody who was around me or helped me with my project, you would know that I was not a fan of it at all. The hardest parts were taking notes, building my website, and writing the information in my own words. But above all, of course, the hardest part of them all, both in 5th and 7th grade, was not being able to use Wikipedia. But after I did all of these things, I was able to create a project that I was proud of. Early on during my time at Akiba, I asked myself, what would I be like in 8th grade? This question loomed over me for a long time. But that waiting period finally came to an end in August. Walking into the doors of the school on the first day of 8th grade, I realized the answer to my question. With the help of my teachers, peers, and others along the way, Akiba has transformed me from a laid-back, go-with-the-flow kid to a more creative, curious, hardworking leader. I knew that I had 1 more year to grow at Akiba to become the best that I could possibly be. Going into 8th grade, and more specifically the year 2020, I already envisioned what these last months of school would look like. The trip to Israel, having fun with friends, and other end-of-year celebrations. Sadly, some of these things were canceled, and there is so much that is still unknown. But I'm thankful that we are still able to have this time to reflect on the things that have happened, and think about what will happen for our class. Even though this year is ending in a surprising and unusual way, I am so happy that I spent my last 4 years as a student at Akiba with all the amazing friends I've made and outstanding teachers. Led by Miss Cass, the one and only, for teaching me to take responsibility for my learning, helping me become a leader among my classmates, and most importantly, for continuing to teach us despite the circumstances we are in. We have learned a lot in each subject because of your hard work. To my friends in the amazing best graduating class of 2020, I wanted to thank you. As I look back at all of the amazing things we have done in the past 4 years, I have so many wonderful memories. From our first days playing football at recess to online video games during quarantine. We have shared many great moments, like our trip to Springfield. My favorite part would have to be the bus ride. I enjoyed all of the funny and weird jokes and games that we played during the ride. These great experiences were not just a one-day thing. They are memories that I will carry with me for as long as I live. Thank you for being the greatest graduating class I could have ever asked to be a part of. This all started when my parents told us that we would be attending Akiba Schechter Jewish Day School in Hyde Park. At first, like any other new student, I was scared and had my doubts. Looking back at it now, this is one of the greatest decisions that my parents have ever made. I am so grateful to have such an amazing family and parents. Ima v'Abba, toda. Shalom.